Well, while I'm on it, let's break up another deck too. Actually, let's pause that because nobody wants to listen to it, and maybe I'll get a copyright strike. Okay, this is my mono black deck. Built it myself. The idea was I would just have some cool black cards, a few tricks, kind of based around this guy who does not work with her. Well, actually he does work with her, but Graveyard Trespasser and Thieves Guild Enforcer don't really work with the Voidwalker, except so let's look at the combo that I thought I had and talk about what really happened. So, Death Voidwalker. If a card to be put into opponent's graveyard from anywhere, instead exile with void counter. Thieves Guild Enforcer, or another rogue, when it comes into play, each opponent mills 2 cards, putting them on the Voidwalker, giving him the counters. Think about it, actually that's not a bad combo, and maybe instead of breaking this up, maybe I should salvage this deck and figure something out. So what isn't really working? What don't I really like? Because she's flashy. She just flashes into play, triggers him. I put these guys in because I wanted some early creatures. I would prefer Nighthawks, but they cost 3 to cast. He only costs 2. He's on the ground. He's only 2/3, but he does have Death Touch and Lifelink. And I had 2 of these guys. 2 Geralf's Messenger. Maybe I need 4. Comes to play, of course, tapped, so he can't block the first turn. He has Undying. When he comes into play, target opponent loses 2 life. I had 3 Unearth, so I can unearth my creatures. So when Voidwalker, when I sacrifice him, I can just unearth him, get him back, and do it again. Liliana of the Veil, she had kind of fallen out of favor, but I understand she's making a bit of a comeback. Very powerful card. Each opponent discards a card which feeds Voidwalker. And since I've got the unearth, I really don't care about discarding a creature because I can unearth it. Then I had her, and the art really doesn't fit the deck. I don't like having this art in the deck anymore because it's just too bright and cheerful for what the deck is. So she's a 2/3 for 3 black. Whenever she or another black creature comes into play, I drain my opponents for 1. So it's a drain. Then I can sacrifice another black creature, draw a card by tapping her. Then I can unearth it. Maybe I need more recursion. I was running Dark Confidant. He has definitely fallen out of favor, but he still does what he does. Beginning of upkeep, show off the top card of my library and put it in my hand, lose life equal to its CMC, which is why I went for things that are CMC 3 or less. I don't have... For a while I had a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, but the possibility of taking a 5 life hit was just too much, so I took him out, went with Ayaras. Here's another Enforcer, Confidant, Enforcer, Voidwalker, Ayaras, Swamp. For a bit of control, I went with Inquisition of Kozilek because if I'm running Dark Confidant, I really don't want the loss of life that Thoughtseize gives me. So I went with Inquisitions of Kozilek. Maybe I should put in Thoughtseize. Something to think about. How can I salvage this deck? And this guy. So this got spoiled, a couple years ago, back when Midnight Hunt came out. And I really like this art. I thought this is cool. So he's 3, so I can unearth him. He's a 3/3 with a ward. My opponent has to do, or anybody has to discard a card to target him. or as a test to your opponent. Sometimes I forget. When he ever comes to play or attacks, exile up to one target card from graveyard. If it's a creature, I gain 1 and my opponents lose 1. I drain 1 from my opponents. And then, if no spells are played during a turn, he flips over into a 4/4, and then he can exile 2 cards from graveyards, and for each creature card, each opponent gets drained for 1. He, because of that ability, and it's not a May, if Voidwalker is preventing my opponents from putting cards in their graveyard, then I start eating my graveyard. And since I have Unearth and I'm planning to recur things from my graveyard, I don't really want to do that. So maybe he's the problem. Maybe Graveyard Trespasser is the card that is making the deck feel clunky. I looked at top 8. I haven't looked at mono black for a while, but maybe there's a mono black deck that will give me some better ideas. I doubt it, and everybody's playing frickin' Scam and Burn. So Fatal Push. Went with this because it only costs 1, so I take less of a hit from Dark Confidant. And of course, if a permanent left the battlefield under my control, I can hit something for 4 CMC, which isn't too hard to engineer. I mean, I've got Ayara. I can sacrifice a black creature. Okay, now I've got Revolt. Maybe I should put Go for the Throats instead. I'm going to run Go for the Throat in my squirrel deck I'm building because it hits pretty much anything, and it doesn't have that mana restriction. It would cost 1 more, so Confidant would hit me for 2 instead of 1. Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe take out Graveyard Trespasser for something else. I don't really know what off the top of my head. I do have a playset of Watery Grave, so I could put something blue, but I don't think there's anything blue-black that's terribly interesting. So, let's keep going. I had 2 Liliana of the Veil, and I had a Liliana of the Last Hope. I didn't get my 3rd Liliana of the Veil, so I pulled her out of my EDH collection, because I didn't have an EDH deck that needed her. So up to 1 target creature gets -2, -1 to your next turn, +1, -2. Put the top 2, and actually I realized she works very well with this deck. So put the top 2 cards from my library into my graveyard. Then I can return a creature from my graveyard to my hand. So it's great. Mill a couple, and if I hit a creature, I get it back. I need a better black creature than Graveyard Trespasser. I don't know offhand what it'd be. I would prefer something with evasion. Maybe I should just run Vampire Nighthawks instead. It's not as big. It doesn't hit graveyards. It can't get that big. It can't be a 4/4 the way Graveyard Trespasser can. Then I had 1 of those. Maybe I had 2 of those. I can't remember. There's my other Liliana of the Veil. There's my other Ayara, Messenger, Kozilek. I think at this point you've seen everything. Unearth, Thieves. Okay, so I have 2 Witches' Cottage. So that's the deck. Oh yeah, here's the sideboard. Oh no. This is the rest of the deck. I also had 1 Shadow Spear. Because Confidant can hit me pretty hard for a while, I need some more life gain. That's why I went with the Aetherborn dude. That's why all the incremental life gain from... Yep. Oh, Jesus Christ. All the incremental life gain from Ayara, Graveyard Trespasser, all of that adds up. So I wanted something with more punch, more oomph. So I put in a Shadow Spear. And that's everything. That's the deck. Yeah, and okay, 1 Cabal Coffers. The deck that I took the inspiration from ran 4 coffers, 4 Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, but I'm not going to spend the money to get 4 Tombs of Yawgmoth, 4 Cabal coffers for a deck that I hardly ever play. Since I don't have the Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth that should go with that Cabal coffers, if I did, it would be in an EDH deck. If I had an extra Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, that Cabal coffers would be ripped out of this deck and put into an EDH deck. Let's look at the sideboard. So the sideboard is Phyrexian Revoker, comes play, name an online card, so against Merfolk, Aether Vial, or Vidalian Hexcatcher, probably. Maybe Smuggler's Copter, something. Against Death and Tax is the same, Aether Vial, Eldrazi Displacer. What else did I bring this in against? Soul Sisters, Martyr of Sands, most likely. Bant Force, well, actually, against Bant Nightfall, the Knight of the Reliquary combo deck. I just say Knight of the Reliquary, and they can't activate the combo until they could deal with it. Had an Ashiok Dream Renderer. So it stops people from fetching. Pretty much in my other commander decks. So it stops people from fetching. It stops Absent Evolution from... It stops it from casting Eldritch Evolution. They can't search the library. It stops Nightfall from getting lands to the Knight of the Reliquary. What else does Ashiok stop? Merfolk doesn't search its library. Burrow's Burn can fetch, so it would stop that. Soul Sisters, it doesn't search for anything. Well, no. I've got Knight Captain of Eos, so that would stop that. Not much else. Okay, so that's pretty good. Fulminator Mage. Well, I took apart General Domain, and this would wreck General Domain because he's only got 9 basic lands, and they're kind of key. And if I take out one of the Triomes, and that's what's giving him 1 or 2 of his domain, then until he can replace those lands, he's kind of screwed. And I can unearth him and do it again. So I need to salvage this deck, maybe. Cling to Dust, exile target creature from graveyard. If it was a creature card, gains 3 life, otherwise draw a card. And I can cast it again by escaping it. I was just kind of grasping at straws when it came to the sideboard here. Collective Brutality. I had 2 of these that I bought to build 8-rack. Didn't finish 8-rack. I just said, nah, I really don't want to play this. It looks really powerful, looks really strong. It doesn't look so much fun. But I kept the Collective Brutalities, so I put them in the sideboard here. Let's see, escalate, discard a card. So pay 2, then discard for each mode beyond the first. Target opponent shows off his hand, choose an instant sorcery from it, they throw it away. Target creature gets -2/-2 till end of turn. Target opponent loses 2, you gain 2. Okay, that's pretty good. Death Mark. It was a pain in the ass to get 4 foil of these. The other one is in the other collection, so I'm running 3 in the sideboard. It was seriously, it was a pain in the ass to get them from Cold Snap. I had to order them from 4 different sellers. One of them sent me the wrong version, sent me the reprint, and that irritated me. And then Erebos is an intervention. If anybody's screwing with her graveyard, which against my decks that typically doesn't happen, but the Genie, if I play against him, Erebos' intervention is really good. Target creature gets -X and -X till end of turn, you gain X life. So, in exile, so if he's playing his Yawgmoth Transposition deck, hey, I'm going to exile some of those bastards with Unearth. Screw you. And then an extra 4th Unearth in case I need it. So actually, looking through it, what I want to do with this deck, now that I think about it, now that I've been talking to you, is I need to replace these. These are not really working in the deck. Graveyard Trespasser, I need to replace them with something better. What do all of you think would be better? Depending on their value, I'll probably sell off 3 of them and keep 1 for the art because it's just cool. It's just neat. I like it. And then I'll get set Ayaras because this is just, I mean, you look and it's all black, 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 and then, oh look, it's a bright, colorful, cheerful pastel fairy. Doesn't fit the feel, which is why Hirobi has a set foil Ayara. So let me know what you think. Give me some ideas on what I can replace the Graveyard Trespasser with, or conversely, let me know if you think I should just say fuck it and just break up this deck and sell off pieces.